everybody. This is Autumn Patrick here with my oral presentation for our social justice issue. The social issue that I chose to research was intimate partner violence amongst the Hispanic population. The reason why I chose this topic was because about 5 to 6 years ago, I was employed with Child Protective Services under the Texas Department of Family Protective Services. While employed there, I thank God that I did not experience any real child abuse cases, but I did encounter many cases that involved domestic violence in Hispanic families. And it was surprising to me because I did not know that that was an issue. So that's why I decided to pick this topic. While researching for our paper, it also brought light to me of things that I didn't originally consider. How different issues can affect different ethnicities or different populations in different ways. The Hispanic population has a higher prevalence of domestic violence as compared to other ethnicities in America. Latino women encounter unique obstacles in trying to get help or in seeking help from a domestic violence situation. And if you really think about it, it does make sense that they would encounter certain problems just as being immigrants. And just with the whole women's equality issues put on top of them being undocumented, or just different cultural aspects that contribute to the prevalence of certain violence. So here's my presentation. I'll see you at the end. The Department of Justice reports domestic violence and intimate partner violence occurring in epidemic proportions, affecting an estimated 6.2 million American women each year, causing injury that is more serious to women than car accidents, muggings, and rapes all combined. It is estimated that at least 4 million women experience a serious assault by an intimate partner during. It is estimated that at least 4 million women experience a serious assault by an intimate partner during an average 12-month period. According to the Center for Disease Control, intimate partner violence is a serious, preventable public health problem that affects millions of Americans. The cost of intimate partner violence exceeds $5.8 billion each year, $4.1 billion of which is for direct medical and mental health services. There are 4 main types of intimate partner violence that affects victims. The 4 types are physical abuse, sexual abuse, threats, and psychological and/or emotional abuse. By the year 2050, nearly one in 3 residents will be Hispanic. 2005 study suggested that Latinas experience abuse at higher rates than white females, and the abuse they experience is often more severe. National Family Violence Survey found rates of male to female partner violence perpetration and female to male violence among Hispanic couples to be 1.5 times and 2.4 times higher than white couples. The number of Hispanic females who have experienced intimate partner violence could reach an astounding number of 10.8 million by the year 2050. Latina survivors in general, and Mexican origin women in particular, tend to stay in abusive relationships longer, return to the abuser more frequently, name fewer behaviors as abusive, and be less likely to seek help to leave the abusive relationship. Domestic violence costs to America. Each year, an estimated 8 million days of paid work are lost in the U.S. because of domestic violence. Domestic violence costs $8.3 billion in expenses annually, a combination of higher medical costs for about $5.8 billion and a lost productivity cost of $2.5 billion. It costs an average of $60,000 per year to incarcerate someone for a domestic violence charge, and in New York, the cost is over $165,000. The total cost of child maltreatment due to domestic violence is $124 billion each year. Latin women face unique obstacles to receiving help, such as fear of deportation, misinformation and lack of knowledge about legal rights, lack of knowledge about law enforcement, language barriers, and limited knowledge of the availability of social services to help. But we're just going to touch on fear of deportation, language barriers, and societal gender inequality. Fear of deportation for a woman's own person, her children, her family members, or even the batterer is a strong deterrent for undocumented Latina and Mexican origin women to report or to seek help. Immigrant Latinas are found to report fear of deportation as a significant obstacle to seeking help to leave their abusive situation and are less likely to seek help from formal services when compared with non-immigrant women. The most frequently reported barrier keeping Latinas from needed services were language barriers. Language barriers being that either they could not speak English or there was no qualified interpreter or translator when they were seeking services. Language barriers contribute to the lack of knowledge about available social services. The lack of access to linguistically competent services puts these women at a disadvantage, allowing for their re-victimization and isolation. The prevalence of intimate partner violence has been supported by long-standing societal beliefs that women are subservient to men. The Latin gender role ideologies of machismo and marianismo contribute to the prevalence of intimate partner violence in the Hispanic community. Machismo refers to a set of beliefs about how Latin males should act that includes negative traits such as sexual prowess, high alcohol consumption, and aggressiveness. Marianismo for Latin women refers to traits such as submissiveness and self-sacrificing behaviors. Strong family roles point to the father as the primary breadwinner, although this role is rapidly changing, and the mother is the person responsible for the well-being of the cohesiveness of the family. Religious beliefs and strong family values may make it difficult for many married Latinas from traditional societies to speak out about the violence that they may be sustaining in their homes. Using the community development model, capacity building can be used to increase community empowerment. By identifying and focusing on a community and its residents' assets, you can build people's capacity to empower themselves and improve their lives and living conditions. I propose a refocus on domestic violence programs, prevention strategies that would be based on the strengths perspective and also relate to the specific needs of the Hispanic community. More bilingual services are needed to reach non-English speakers. More bilingual services would also assist in providing education about available services and awareness about IPV prevalence. People can't access services if they don't know how to get to, they don't know they're there or how to get to them. A study estimated that an average of 10.6 minutes and a cost of $24.86 per encounter was considered a nominal fee to aid services and programs for translative and interpreter services. Outreach aimed at school education may also be would be great in assisting prevention and awareness in Hispanic youth populations. High in high immigrant and high Hispanic populated areas. The YouGov survey findings demonstrate that young people may also be experiencing domestic violence in their own intimate relationships. Margaret's Place is a school-based violence prevention and intervention program. Margaret's Place has developed a whole curriculum that is geared towards educating the youth about different risk factors of domestic violence. Margaret's Place estimated that their program will cost $115,000 or approximately $130 per student, which when you think about it, this program will not be geared at all schools, just to certain schools in certain areas. Remember that Margaret's Place would only be spearheading this program in the high-need communities, schools with high-functioning administration that are able to support the program, schools that are not already saturated with other service providers, and schools and communities experiencing disproportionately high incidents of domestic violence. The National Latino Network with Casa de Esperanza launched the Te Invito campaign. This public service announcement campaign was informed by listening sessions conducted with Latino men and women from St. Paul in the Minneapolis metropolitan area. Participants discussed gender roles, socialization, education, violence, and culture. This campaign is aimed at Latino men's accountability and awareness of domestic violence. I think this Te Invito campaign is another example of a strengths perspective in the community building model, because they use citizens from their targeted population was the Hispanic population. They had a focus group of men and women, and they took their suggestions and the things that they learned from this focus group and applied it to their campaign. If you were to click on the Te Invito poster with the gentleman on the left, you would be directed to their ad campaign. Mariska Hargitay, founder and president of the Joyful Heart Foundation, launched the No More campaign